4 games remaining. If they can beat their greatest rivals today, they will seal an emotional triumph, the sweetest of triumphs, after a season in which their style of play has often been criticised for over 18 months. Can Ajax overcome? And we're 3-0 winners, as mentioned, against this team before Christmas. A double-double against their big 3 rivals is rare indeed. They are the masters of forcing the mistake, and here's Lozano into the box. Bergwijn slipped before it arrived. This is Pereiro, and that's a super little ball, and Van Ginkel couldn't quite reach it. Perez was tidy. Ziyech has run into trouble again. Just overran it. That's allowed the chance for Lozano. He knew De Jong was there too, and the challenge came in from Lasse Schöne. Luke De Jong. Precision from him. Pereiro has found Lozano. He found the cross somehow, and De Ligt denied De Jong.
I'm not sure if Onana gets a save on this as well with his feet, but certainly De Ligt read the run early. Good body position to begin with. The ball comes in. Just feel Ajax have weathered that early storm in terms of the pressing of PSV, but they're at it again.
Arias nipped in effectively. This is Bergwijn. Arias continued his run. Didn't get it back as early as he wanted. Lozano in space. 3 to aim at in the centre here. Lozano might fancy a go himself. And Onana, I think, was always in control of that.
Onana made that look a bit more spectacular than he needed to. It was about Arias pressing. Recognised that Lozano was on his own on the edge of the box here. Luke De Jong so clever in those situations. He's 6'4", but when the contact comes in, it's as if he's 5'2", how easily he goes down.
He's the danger again here, but there's too much on the free kick from that man Lozano. Lozano after this one, and he jumped early, and he jumped into Tagliafico.
That'll be another battle, those two guys. Tagliafico's read the situation, he's in a little bit of trouble here, just gets his body between Lozano and the ball, just allows the contact to come and draw the foul. Lozano's laughing, but he should know better than that.
Referees kept a pretty low profile so far today.
That's what you hope, big games like that. You have to let the atmosphere, the game breathe. Here's an opportunity.
It's Van Ginkel driving through, and now Lozano with so much time, and it must be, and Gaston Pereiro. This is the scene they all dreamt of. Pereiro puts PSV on the very edge of glory. Again, they've caught Ajax out. And Pereiro against Ajax once again.
Talking about composure there, Van Ginkel spots that Lozano's there, seems to have an age to settle the ball, get his strike off. And Arnold takes the sting out of it. De Ligt's on the line to clear it, stopping it dribbling over the line. But Pereiro, as you quite rightly said, has probably got the nod in this big game because of his record against teams like Ajax. And his eyes must have lit up there as he put it in.
Well, that's 3 in 3 games for Gaston Pereiro.
But at times, just pull your centre forward, Luke De Jong, to be in and around him.
Lozano turned really well there, and it was Tagliafico who tripped him and is disappearing from the scene of the crime so swiftly. I think he knew the yellow card was coming.
The Argentinian is going to be combative by nature.
Hendricks trying to restore some calm. Seeking out Lozano, who has space to run at Tagliafico on a yellow card here. Lozano did well, and Arna's clearance was dropping towards De Jong. De Ligt's just about got there. Lozano was fouled by Verba, says the referee. Never nice to see Lozano urging the referee to brandish the yellow card. And I think the referee is telling him, don't bother with that.
I think Luke de Jong is probably saying to him as well. But what South Americans are so good at is getting their body in between you and the ball as a defender. You're trying to win the ball, they take that contact, they go down. And as a young centre-half, he's got a lot to learn still, Verba, to recognise that that's about to happen and don't give away a cheap free. Got that high line again, Ajax.
They were totally caught out last time.
It's going to be an in-swinger as well.
Lozano takes Huntelaar away. Back in Pereiro. Lozano via a deflection for a corner.
Defensively, they're set up Ajax in that situation. He's all wrong. Huntelaar quite rightly drops, gives his with the game in front of us.
There's Van Hinkel, now Arias. Seeking out Lozano, and Verba went to ground, and the ref said corner, and said the Austrian got the ball.
He did, but it looks like he's got contact of the ball through the legs of Lozano, and it's fortunate that he did so, because if he mistimes that by any little bit, he does brilliantly well. Every player's got to put a shift in. But quite often as a centre-half, when your centre-forward comes back to help out defensively, he just gets in the way.
Ziyech. Schwab away for PSV, and that's a good outball. The slip by Tagliafico was very unfortunate. Bergwijn up alongside. And he was the target, I think.
It's frustrating that it didn't come to anything there. But the key moment there, they're all on their back foot, PSV, defending in numbers. When they do force a turnover, they've got to complete that first pass.
The other most obvious option for Erik ten Hag on the bench is Kasper Dolberg, but when you've got Huntelaar through the centre and Siem de Jong joining in at the moment. Here's Pereiro, there's space for Arias on the outside here, and Van de Beek is a little isolated. In towards Luke de Jong it goes, they crowded him out. Bergwijn though brings it down! That might be the moment. And Steven Bergwijn, a young player once at the Ajax Academy, delivers his old club the bitterest of pills. For PSV it could barely be sweeter. 3-0 up and cruising towards the title.
Just give a nice protection to the back four. Going to be under pressure in this remaining part of the game.
Should be a block of 6, shouldn't it, for PSV for the remaining time?
If I was a centre-half now for PSV, I would literally be handcuffing Van Hinkel and Hendricks.
He passed up there, and Arias has it on the overlap, and Kluivert stopped him, and the ref says play on. Here he goes again. He'll be part of the Colombian team in Russia later this year. But his mind very much is on the here and now, beginning the party. Well, the party's already begun. Van Hinkel in on Schöne. Ramselaar on the turn. Veltman had to let him go. Here's Pereiro. Lozano waits near side. Pereiro's going to go on. Now Lozano.
His first touch, Lozano, rather than killing it on the floor, he lets it bounce up on the turf and then has to take a second one to settle the ball. A real opportunity.
Teeing up Lucassen. Well,
but then suddenly it changes all again.
Siem de Jong with Dolberg close to him, and it's Schwab who emerges with the ball again. Tagliafico on Lozano, and that will be a free kick and a card, and Tagliafico's already had one of those. So Ajax's day is going to get even worse. Lozano is hurt, but Ajax are hurt in a different way. And maybe this wound will feel all the deeper. 3-0 down to 10 men.
It's a nonsense tackle. He mirrors the run in behind initially, but the ball's played too short. Lozano then has to check his run, go back towards play, and in doing so as a defender, just let him have it. Bearing in mind you're on a yellow card already. And you're in February, so that challenge again. It's a nonsense decision to make that there. It's on the halfway line. He's got enough recovery. Lozano did spin him.
Whether Luke de Jong's going to get both of his on it later, I'm not sure. Lozano is... there could be more for PSV here. Arias in, Lozano going for it. And Onana collecting. You saw the arrival on screen of Mazraoui, who's come on, the number 40, the provincial club from Eindhoven.
Almost literally from the two sending-offs.
Yeah. They could be down to that number if they're not careful. Brunette this time. It's a whistle, it's a final whistle, and PSV are champions. A third crown in 4 years for Philippe Cocu. This team that were derided for their efficiency have been emphatic. The questions answered with a drubbing of Ajax to seal the championship. For PSV, for Eindhoven, it is a glorious day. To match the number one by his brother seen with Ajax earlier in the decade. One of Luke's came in 2010 with FC Twente. They've won 8 of the last 9 Dutch titles between them. And Lozano, in his first season in European football, has silverware to crown it. It's not the deepest squad. A tight-knit group, very tightly knit. Central, could not have been more central to this, the captain of the team.
I agree. I think since he came back to the club 18 months ago, he's drove them forward. He took the pressure off of Luke de Jong in terms of taking the captaincy and let Luke de Jong concentrate on scoring goals. And he's been a fabulous signing for PSV.
Hirving Lozano, their centre pitcher, didn't score today, but was a thorn in the Ajax side. Do you think he's their most valuable asset right now? They paid 8 million euros for him in the summer, but I mean, he's thrived in Dutch football from the very moment he arrived.
He has, and we've seen it so many times with players coming from South America playing in the Eredivisie. Iconic names, there's so many to mention. But you're right, I think that 8 million euros, you could literally double it, treble it at this stage.
And who knows, if he does play well for Mexico in the World Cup, it could be more. This is Willy van der Kerkhoff, PSV legend, who is going to be part of the presentation party. Eric Hudder of the KNVB taking the shield. He was with Feyenoord until recently, celebrating a year ago. Never really seemed to in the league for in excess of 18 months now.
It's that key save at 1-0, that brilliant save that just allowed PSV to go on and dominate the game.
And sombreros off for Hirving Lozano, another Mexican who's made a vital contribution at PSV. And it's Van Ginkel who takes the trophy and celebrates a 24th title for PSV of Eindhoven. if not one of the most stylish, then certainly one of the sweetest, as their rivals Ajax watch on backstage. PSV worthy winners. And an emotional triumph in Eindhoven. A third title in 4 years for Philip Cocu's men. And the margin in the end was large. No last day drama here. No comebacks from 2-0 up with the title on the line. PSV stepped forth and grabbed it with both hands in the second half. Not the biggest squad, not the deepest, but certainly with enough talent, despite the departures that had to happen at the beginning of the season and the rumoured departures which didn't happen. They stuck together and they delivered. Gary Breen, your tribute to this PSV team?
I think they deserve every bit of success that they're having right now. They've worked so hard, and you're right, as a collective, they've had a real strength of character. Difficult times this season, but they never look like faltering. And on the biggest occasion, when they're expected to clinch the title in front of their home fans against their bitterest rivals, they comfortably did it.
A celebration to savour.